Fifth grade, chapter 8, lesson 4, fraction and whole number division. Unlock the problem. 3 friends share a 1/4 pound block of fudge equally. What fraction of a pound of fudge does each friend get? Divide 1/4 divided by 3. Let the rectangle represent a 1 pound block of fudge. Divide the rectangle into fourths and then divide each fourth into 3 equal parts. So they took their rectangle, they already divided it into 4 equal parts, and then we divide that one part, that 1/4, into what? How many pieces, guys? 3, right? So we take it and divide it into 3 pieces. So how many total pieces do we have now? 12. So the rectangle is now divided into 12 equal parts. When you divide 1/4 into 3 equal parts, you're finding 1 of 3 equal parts, or 1/3 of 1/4. Shade 1/3 of 1/4. So we have 1 piece of this. The shaded part is what of the whole rectangle. So how many total parts do we have? 12. And we shaded 1. So complete the number sentence. So each friend gets 1/12 of a pound of fudge, because 1/3 times 1/4 is 1/12. Example, Brad has 9 pounds of ground turkey to make turkey burgers for a picnic. How many 1/3 pound turkey burgers can he make? So will the number of turkey burgers be less than or greater than 9? Greater than. Divide 9 divided by 3. Draw 9 rectangles to represent each pound of ground turkey. Divide each rectangle into thirds. So they already have their 9 rectangles, and then we need to make each rectangle into what? Thirds. When you divide the 9, right, rectangles into thirds, you are finding the number of thirds in 9 rectangles. We're finding 9 groups of 3. And then how many thirds are there? 27 thirds. Complete the number sentence. So they did 9 divided by 1/3, then they really did 9 times what?
9 times 3.
Which equals
27.
So Brad can make
27.
1/3 pound turkey burger. You have learned how to use the model and write a multiplication sentence to solve a division problem. So they did 1/4 divided by 2 equals 1/8. They took 1/2 times 1/4 equals 1/8. And over here, they did 4 divided by 1/2 equals 8, because the reciprocal of that is actually 4 times 2 equals 8. So look at example A. Describe how the model shows that dividing 2 is the same as multiplying by half. So 1/4 divided into 2 groups equals 1/4 times 1/2, which equals 1/8. Number 2, look at example B. Describe how the model shows that dividing by 1/2 is the same as multiplying by 2. There are 8 halves and 4 wholes, so 4 times 2 equals 8. When you divide whole numbers, the quotient is always less than the dividend. For example, the quotient for 6 divided by 2 is less than 6, and the quotient for 2 divided by 3 is less than 2. Complete the try this to learn how the quotient compares to the dividend when you divide fractions and whole numbers. Try this. For the 2 expressions below, which will have a quotient that is greater than its dividend? Explain. So 3 divided by half, because you would have 3 parts and break it into halves, getting 3 times 6. So when I divide a fraction by a whole number, the quotient is less than the dividend. When I divide a whole number by a fraction less than 1, the quotient is greater than. Share and show. Use the model to complete the number sentence. So they said 2 divided by 1/4 equals, so they had how many total rectangles? How many large rectangles, guys? 2. And then they showed 2 times, and then they broke each one of those into 4s and got
4 or 8.
8. 2 times 4 is 8. use the model to complete the number sentence. So they started with a fraction this time. So they had 1/6 divided by 2. So they said 1/6 times, what did they have to make that 2 into? Did it stay 2? It went into 1/2 because they broke the large piece into 2 pieces. So 1/2 times 1/6 is 1/12. Now down here, I've already taught you guys how to use reciprocals, right? Okay, so basically what you do is you put the whole number over 1, and then you circle the second one because that's the one you're going to flip, right? Or do the reciprocal up. So what am I going to write, guys?
3/1 times 4/1.
Times 4/1 because I flip the second one and I get what?
12
Over
1.
which equals
12.
12. Next one, what am I going to do? Write what?
1/5.
No,
Oh wait, 4/1.
4/1. Then I'm going to,
Circle 4/1.
because that's the one I'm going to
Change
flip or change. So then I'm going to write
1/5 times 1/4.
times 1/4 equals.
1/20.
Okay, the next one, what am I going to do?
3/1.
Okay, then,
Circle 3/1.
okay, then I write,
1/9 times 1/3 equals 1/27.
because I flip my second number in the equation, right? Okay, next one, what am I going to do?
7/1.
Okay,
Circle 1/2.
then I write,
7/1 times 2/1 equals 14/1, which equals 14.
all right, and then you guys do on your own with your partner. Unlock the problem. The slowest mammal is the 3-toed sloth. The top speed of a 3-toed sloth on the ground is about 1/4 foot per second. The top speed of a giant tortoise on the ground is about 1/3 foot per second. How much longer would it take a 3-toed sloth than a giant tortoise to travel 10 feet on the ground? So, let's see. 3-toed sloth, 1/4 foot per second. Let's see. The giant tortoise, 1/3 foot per second. And then how much longer would it take the 3-toed sloth than a giant tortoise to travel on the ground? So what are you looking to find?
How much longer it will take a 3-toed sloth to travel than a giant tortoise?
What operations will you use to solve the problem? So addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division? Subtraction and what else? What would division would come first, right? So division and subtraction. Okay, so what would be my first problem? Okay, what numbers am I using?
1/4 and 1/3.
Well, you're going to use those, but do we have to use them in different equations first?
Yes.
With what?
10.
With 10. So what goes first in my problem? 10 or the 1/4?
10.
Okay, so 10 divided by 1/4 equals, and then this would become 10/1, and this would become
4/1.
so we write 10/1 times
4/1.
which equals
40/1.
which equals
40.
what's my next problem going to be?
10/1.
Well, 10
divided by 1/3.
equals, and then this becomes,
10/1.
and then I write,
10/1.
oh, I forgot a circle, right? 10/1 times, which equals,
30/1,
which equals,
30.
then what am I going to do with that information?
40 minus 30.
Which equals
10.
10. So complete the sentences. A three-toed sloth would travel 10 feet in how many seconds?
30. 40.
40 seconds. A giant tortoise would travel 10 feet in
30 seconds.
30 seconds. Since 40 minus 30 10, it would take a three-toed sloth
10 seconds.
longer to travel 10 feet. So letter A. Okay. Now number 16, Robert divides 8 cups of almonds into 1/8 cup servings. How many servings does he have? So I'm going to underline 8 cups, 1/8 cup. How many servings does he have? So here I have to decide what our whole total is. What is our whole total? Is it the 8 or is it the 1/8?
8.
It's 8, right? Because we have a total of 8 cups. So 8 has to go first in my problem, right? So I have 8 divided by what?
1/8.
1/8. Then what do I do?
Put 8 over 1.
8 over 1 and circle
The 1/8.
the 1/8, and then I rewrite it as 8 over 1 times,
8 over 1.
which equals,
64 over 1.
which equals,
64.
so letter. Okay, number 17. Tina cuts 1/3 yard fabric into 4 equal parts. What is the length of each part? So what do I underline? 1/3 yard, and then what is the length of each part? So I need to decide once again, what is my total, and then what am I breaking it into? So what is my total?
1/3.
1/3 divided by
4.
divided by 4. What do I do?
4 over 1.
4 over 1,
Circle the 4 over 1.
right?
1/3 times 1/4 equals 1/12.
So letter B. Now those so happen to be where our total was listed first, and then we could write it in that order. But is it always listed first? No. So you have to pay very close attention to that.